Hi guys, welcome back to the Duke's Farm. My name is Dennis Duke Wanyala. If you're new here, please subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on different social media platforms at Dennis Duke UG. Today I'm here, I want to break down the cost of actually building a raised structure that can accommodate roughly around 200 heads of goats. Now, for all of you who are out there and are intending to join the goat farming business, I want to let you know that having a raised structure is better than having a non-raised structure. The only downside of having a raised structure, it is expensive, just like you're going to see some of the things that are involved in building up a raised structure. If somebody built the same structure, same dimension, the width, the height, the length, they would spend pretty much half the amount of money that we're actually going to discuss in this particular video. So if you're new, subscribe, don't you go away. Let's go straight into that. I'm glad you're still watching the Duke's Farm. Now, I have these bills of quantities, or the things that we actually used to build our structure, our raised structure. Like I said, it can accommodate roughly around 200 heads of goats in here. Now, for those of you who need goat farming business plans, please reach me out on this number and let's discuss, of course, at a very small cost. We also do the construction of goat pens, and we can also set up your farm. Even when you're not in the country, we can buy for you the land, we set up the farm for you, we build everything for you. By the time you come, you just let your people who are within the country do the small supervision for you, but we can do that at a very, very favorable price as opposed to other people on the market. So I have a book where I wrote almost everything. I did the calculations and I put some of these monies in dollars, but most of them are actually in Ugandan shillings. But just in case you're not in the country and you're wondering how much that could be in dollars, the dollar rate right now is at 3,500 Uganda shillings. It's been fluctuating for quite some time. Also, the amount of these materials could change, could differ basing on location, basing on where you're buying these products or these materials, also basing on your bargaining power, among many other things. So these could change, but slightly, not entirely. So let's go into the things that we bought. Of course, I'll be breaking down the number of the things we used on a 200 goat capacity. Now, talking about this, it is 50 feet length and then 16 feet wide. So let's go into some of the things that we bought. We had around 140 poles of trees that we used on this structure. Each pole was costing roughly around 10,000 Uganda shillings. Okay, it was costing 10,000, which is roughly around 2.8 US dollars. Now, 140 poles will amount into 1.4 million Uganda shillings, which is roughly around 400 US dollars. Yes, 1.4, which is 400 US dollars only for the poles. I want you to get a pen and a paper and start noting down these things such that you follow with me. But even if you don't, I will be giving you the total amount, both in shillings and in dollars. We also had about 60 12 by 1, which is commonly known here as chirudu. Those timbers you're seeing, they are about 12 inches wide and then 1 inch long. Okay, so they were 16 number, and each of these was at 7,000, which is roughly around 2 US dollars, amounting to 420,000 Uganda shillings, which is 120 US dollars. That's just for the those chirudu timbers. We also had timbers commonly known as 6 by 2. Now these 6 by 2 were 150 in number, and each of them was about 5,000 Uganda shillings, which is roughly around 1.4 US dollars. And 150 timbers of 6 by 2 will cost us 750,000 Uganda shillings, which if translated into the dollars is 214 US dollars. Okay, We had 3 chain links. Those are the chain links that we used to have a better aeration on our structure. As you can see, we didn't cover the entire area so that we could give these goats enough aeration. Now the 3 chain links each, which was of course gauge 14, cost us 140,000 US Uganda shillings. In dollars it is 40 US dollars. And the total of the 3 chain links was 420,000, which translates into 120 US dollars only for 3 chain links. The next item on the list is the iron sheets, which we used 50 minus of course the off cuts, and each iron sheet lately iron sheets have risen in prices according to this is of course caused or brought by the increment in almost all commodities in the country, and right now some people are buying an iron sheet at 35,000 Uganda shillings. Fortunately for us, we got one at 32,500 Uganda shillings, translating into 9.2 US dollars. Now 50 iron sheets, total cost is 1,657,500 Uganda shillings, translating into 473 US dollars. The nails, we had different inches. We had 3 inches, we had 5 inches, we had 6 inches, we had 4 inches, we had the roofing nails, and then we had 1.5 inches. The nails of 3 inches, we had 15 kgs, 5 inches, we had 10 kgs, 6 inches, we had 10 kgs, 4 inches, we had 17 kgs. The roofing nails, we had about 10 kgs, 1.5, we had about 8 kgs, and the entire amount for the nails, I've put it all together, is 350,000 Uganda shillings, translating into 100 US dollars. One of the things that we did was to give our structure some sort of things that could give it strength, and this include of course the plain sheet. Now the plain sheet we got gauge 30 rather, and as you can see, this is how we used the plain sheet. We first started by treating the poles. We put the PVC black cavera, and then we put the plain sheet as well, and then we had these poles supported or firmly put in the soils or in the holes by use of cement, sand, and of course some aggregates. Now the plain sheets gauge 30 each, we used about 3 rolls, and each roll was at 130,000 Uganda shillings, which is roughly around 37 US dollars. And the 3 rolls of 30 gauge plain sheet cost us 390,000 Uganda shillings, which is roughly around 111 US dollars. We also had the black PVC paper, which is, we used 1 roll. That roll was at 120,000, which is 34 US dollars. We had about 8 ridges. Now 8 ridges, the ridges that cover the apex of the house. Each ridge was at 9,000, and of course that's about 2.5 US dollars. Now the entire cost for the ridges was 72,000, bringing us or giving us 21 US dollars in total for only 8 ridges. We had things like cement. We had 4 bags. Each bag of cement was at 32,500, which is 9.2 US dollars, and the 4 bags cost us 130,000 Uganda shillings, amounting to 37 US dollars. We also had 14 poles separate from the earlier poles, which are going to be used for fencing and securing the playground area. We are going to use 14 poles, which each pole is estimated at 10,000 Uganda shillings. That is roughly around 2.8 US dollars, and the total amount for the poles is 140,000, which is translated into 40 US dollars. We also had the sand, 1 truck. Now the white sand, then there's lake sand. All those are 2 trucks at 300,000 Uganda shillings. We also had an aggregate 1 truck of car. Those stones, those broken stones that we used to fix in our poles to give it some sort of strength, it was also at 150. So these are 3 trucks, giving us 400 and 50,000 Uganda shillings. And then you know the dollars if you have been following. Now we also had some 4 feeders. We only got 2 drums, and we divided them into 2 equal parts where we're going to use as our feeders, and each drum was at 80,000 Uganda shillings, which is roughly around 22 US dollars. And these drums in total cost us 160,000, which is 45 US dollars. We also had 3 half chain links of, is it 4 feet? Yes. And each chain link was at 100,000 shillings, that is gauge 14. And the 3 chain links cost us 300,000 Uganda shillings, which is translated into 85 US dollars. We also had something called miscellaneous. Now miscellaneous, usually I count for things that I may not have, you know, mentioned or forgotten, and I put that at 300,000 Uganda shillings, which is of course roughly around 85 US dollars. We also had things like food, which cost me roughly around 200,000 shillings. I had transport, transporting these materials onto the site also cost us 200,000 Uganda shillings, which is roughly around 57 US dollars, also 57 US dollars in terms of food that I gave the people who were working here at my farm. So another thing that cost us some money is of course the labor cost, which cost us roughly around 2.5 million Uganda shillings. And of course this, if you translate it in dollars, you know exactly how much monies we are talking about. Then this brings me to where you've all been waiting for, and that is the total cost of everything, or the expenditure that we used on our raised structure. Now the total cost of this structure, or building this structure of about 50 feet by 16 feet, cost us 9 million Uganda shillings. If you translate it into US dollars, you'll find it at 2,571 US dollars. So roughly 2,600 US dollars, ladies and gentlemen, is what cost us to build this goat pen raised structure. The dollar rate is at 3,500. So these figures could change somehow, but depending or basing on where you are located. Like I said in the beginning, having a raised structure is the way to go. It's one of the modern ways of goat keeping, but it's costly. Like you've seen, this money could actually build these structures, 2 of them, but not raised on the ground. The only challenge with the raised, with the ground structure is cases of diseases, foot diseases, among many other infections, are way too high. There are farmers who have, of course, done this for quite some time, and they are really doing okay. But in case you need a raised structure, please reach me out on these numbers, and I'll be more than glad to help you. Also, we do business plan, got business plans for you. We do supply a couple of things, trainings, and visits at the farm as well. So please reach me out on these numbers, and I'll be more than glad. Until then, it's a goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video.